Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch. Glad you're hanging out with us. We got problems. The tractor tire fell off while we were cutting hay. A little bit of work's already kind of transpired, but you'll be able to see here and here kind of the first viewings of it. We worked a little bit yesterday, tearing things apart to try to get down to what parts we need. And I went this morning to get those parts and to get a few different odd end tools and stuff to be able to get it back together. So to kind of explain what we assume happened, we don't know 100%, but we failed to regularly check the torque specs on the wheels of our tractor. So our fault, my bad. So basically what has happened is tractor's got 8 lugs on it, and over time these lugs have loosened one by one and then as they loosen they keep rocking back and forth. So as the wheel rocks back and forth and those lugs keep rattling and backing out over time, that eventually gets to a point where those lugs back all the way out, they fall out. I'm gonna assume that about 3 or 4 of them had fallen out, maybe 5. Maybe 5. Who knows how long? We haven't been keeping an eye on it. Again, our fault that we didn't keep track of that. So over time the lugs were falling out, 5, maybe 6 of them, maybe. I'm gonna guess 5 to 6. Then when we made this corner right here, coming around cutting hay, it put a lot of stress on the wheel and the remaining lugs that were there. And that's not the one I'm looking for. Stand by. So here are 2 of the lugs that we were able to locate. And so you can see over time, as they sit there and waller out, those threads flatten down and they can move, slide, till eventually we have this much of the bolt hanging on, and then they snap. And so these are not the ones that snapped off. Actually, one of these ones was the only one holding the bolt, holding the wheel on. So once they finally let loose, we had 1 bolt left in there. It's not this one. This is the one I took out of the other side. We got 1 bolt left inside of there, and so then the axle, instead of pivoting in the center of the wheel, now pivots around that one bolt. And so basically, that, long story short, you saw in the picture earlier, it left the tire sitting forward. The tire came up, hit the plastic fender, knocked these loose. We've already put them back in place, and hit the ladder that goes up in there. We've already taken it off. Sorry for the wind. And it bent this ladder. I don't know if you can see that real well, but we got to get that in the shop and get it bent back. One of the other things we did is we had a handful of these holes, these threaded holes that were still good, but a few of them were kind of boogered up inside of there. There's the first thread. So what we did, and while we have this bolt out, is we took this bolt and ran it in through the back on the good threads and reshaped the threads in the front of the holes. This is the last one remaining, and as you can see, it's pretty gnarly in there. So we're hoping we can get that back right, but we'll see how it goes. But as we did that yesterday with this bolt, it really took a number on the threads, so we've got an extra bolt to replace that one over there, and some extra ones to be able to tackle this hole. The plan for today is that me and Nana are going to rethread, try to get the threads on that last bolt hole rethreaded, and then we're going to try to get this wheel back in place and get it bolted back up to the hub on the axle. Again, sorry for the wind, I can't help that. Once we get it bolted back up the axle, then maybe we can get this back down. We now own a brand new to us torque wrench that we can monitor on a more regular basis the torque on the wheels. So then we'll retorque everything with the torque wrench, make sure everything's good to go, and hopefully today we can get back up and running and get the rest of this head cut. I'm gonna give you a little update from inside the tractor. As you can see, it's running. We got it all back together. We were gonna do a lot of filming outside of the work and all that, but the wind is crazy today. I don't know if you can see it rippling the grass out there, but it would have been terrible footage. Anyway, so we were able to get it all put back together. She got a few more scars and some things we gotta watch out for more regularly. We were trying to prevent from having to buy new axles because this particular tractor, the flange, that's the hub that the wheel bolts up to, is threaded. So if those threads get messed up, then you got to replace the whole axle, I believe. And so we're trying to prevent doing that because we really don't have the money to be making those kinds of repairs right now. So that's why we were trying to do the working the threads out thing and all that with the bolts and sacrificing bolts and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, long story short, the worst one that I talked about earlier didn't work. So we have grade 8 bolt and washer nut that we ran through that hole to hold it in place, and the remaining 7 are holding that wheel on. We put Loctite on every single one of the bolts, and they're all torqued to spec with a brand new torque wrench. Thank you, Craftsman. And then I went to the other side because I was going to put Loctite on those and check all of those. And 7 of those cooperated. All have Loctite, look good, everything's good to go. But there's one. There's one in every crowd. And one of them, while backing it off with the impact gun, stopped coming out. And basically got stuck in this position. It won't go forward, it won't go back. It completely got stuck. So then I put a breakover bar and a cheater pipe on there to try to get it to go one way or another, and ended up breaking the square head off of a 1/2-inch breakover bar, trying to get that thing to spin on. So it remains in its current location. We have 7 more that hold that wheel on with Loctite, torque to spec, and we will be checking on those on the regular to make sure we don't have any issues, because we just felt like trying to force that bolt in or out was going to cause a lot more problems than if we were to just leave it in place. So it's going to stay in place, and when it falls out, then maybe we'll do something about it. But as of right now, we think she's good to go. I just made a couple laps around the field with her, cutting hay. Everything seems to be on the up and up, so we will consider this job fixed for now. On to cutting hay. wood, could a woodchuck chuck? If a woodchuck could chuck woodchuck, woodchuck wood.